Hey YouTube, welcome to episode 6. 4 was a wash, so we did podcast number 5, episode 5, and then, so video, episode number 6. And today's topic, what do we got, Steph?
Vacations, anything from day trips to 2-week trips to our future trips once this Rona decides to leave us, which might not be for another year or so. We're gonna discuss our vacations, the type of vacations we like to take, where generally we like to go. I think we'll only name one specific place.
Sure.
In California. And the other places we'll probably just name states, if anything.
Yep.
And then I'll briefly cover what it entails as far as traveling with MS and give you guys a brief update on me being on a new medication. So what that'll look like with my future plans, our future plans to travel, or for me to go visit, my family and everything like that. So let's start with Jonathan. What's your favorite place in California to go to? And you can either be specific or not specific with the location or what have you.
Okay, for vacations, I like to go to... We've been to Seal Beach a few times. That was fun. I like that area. Seal Beach, they have a lot of artsy folk, overly priced, local shops. But there's a lot to do in the area. You have Long Beach, you have Seal Beach. They're relatively close to each other. You have LA's right there. You have a lot to do in a small driving distance. So that's what I would say is one of my favorite places in California to go. Aside from Disneyland, and we've mentioned it a couple times. So Disneyland is number 2. Just because we've been there so many times. We know the area, we know where everything is. There's a lot to do in Anaheim. I'd say either of those 2 spots, or up by us where we're living, about a few hours north of that. So I'd like to go. I would say my number 1 spot in California, Seal Beach.
Okay. For me, I would have to say Disneyland, obviously. It's been a staple since my parents and I moved here when I was a kid. So it's definitely a staple for me. Just because you can go, once you've been so many times, I would say at least, 10, 12 times, you can go and leisurely do what you want to do instead of, oh my goodness, I only have a day to do X, Y, and Z. No, you can plan to do rides on one day, or if you want, sometimes our trips are food driven. So we'll eat really healthy, the months leading up to it, and then once we get there, it's okay, are we gonna have dinner or a funnel cake with a Coke? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or a milkshake or something.
Or a milkshake, or I don't eat turkey legs. He likes the turkey legs that they have there.
Yep.
So it just depends on, what you really want to do. And then we did live in Colorado, and I think we would like to go back for some vacations because it's a beautiful area and there's so much to do.
We visited Atlanta, north of Atlanta. That was a good visit.
We visited Atlanta for personal family reasons. I've been there. I went there the 1996 Olympics with my parents, so that was awesome, and my aunt Margot. So it was fun reminiscing on when I was 6 or 7 to being an adult going there and taking my husband to where, you know, they had the Olympics, and it's just really beautiful there. So that was nice.
Yeah, we enjoyed that. It was beautiful time of year, so it wasn't too hot, but
It wasn't too humid,
yeah,
and it
good.
rained every day, so it made it cool and,
Yeah.
you know, manageable, where it's not like hot and sticky like, you know, other parts of Georgia where it's like, oh my goodness, get me the hell out of here.
Yeah.
It's too hot.
So they have a lot of antique shops and some nice things to go and look at and to go do, and a bunch of nice places to eat. So we enjoyed the area. We just leisurely, you know, tried to kind of get our minds off of what was going on at the time. So it was a nice chance to take a walk around the city and just view things and hang out.
We went
that
on
was
a
nice.
horse carriage ride. I've
Yeah.
never been on a horse carriage ride before,
That was fun.
other than Disneyland, obviously, but like horse-drawn carriage, that was so fun.
Yeah.
And then
Saw the
the
major
guy that
buildings.
was our tour guide on the carriage, he was talking to us for like what he took us an extra block, so like he charged us for half an hour when he took us for like an hour and 15
Yeah.
minutes or something, because
Yeah, it was good.
he liked our company, and I think it was vice versa. It was a very good gentleman that, you know, took us on said, you know, ride and everything. And
Yeah, that was fun.
the rain was good for my MS, because for me heat is not such a good thing for me. So so when we're in, you know, Disneyland, I have to have a fan, I have to have a cooling
Right.
rag around my neck, and it's just this whole big thing, and sunscreen, or having to go and to different just shops just to cool off. Oh my goodness. But yeah, different depends on where we're going. I just have to adapt, and it takes me about a day to adapt, so it's not too horrible for me. I think we've been able to figure it out over the years. So
Yeah, and depending on where we're going, of course, like anybody does going on vacation, you check the weather. You check to see what's going to be happening in that area, what local events are going on. So if we're going up to Denver and there's going to be a bunch of games going on up there,
football,
we might,
games,
yeah,
or
whether it's
whatever.
basketball or football, we might just avoid the city for a little while. That way, when everybody else is, you know, frequenting the locations that we would be going to, then yeah, we don't really
Or we book around
right major
times that
events.
they're gonna have concerts or you know, games or stuff like that. So.
Unless we're trying to go to a game. So
Unless we're trying to go to a game, but you know, unless the Broncos are playing the Rams, or the Broncos are playing a team that is a rival of the Rams, then that'd be my only reason to go, is to
see
yeah,
a game.
I'll root for the Broncos so I can see another team get their ass whooped. But so what about future trips stateside, but it doesn't really seem like they're part of the U.S., like Hawaii or Alaska? Where would you like to go within
Definitely
the next
Alaska.
5 years?
Definitely Alaska.
Alaska?
Yeah, I think yeah.
I want to go to Hawaii.
It's just gorgeous. Oh really? Yeah. I can't get over that long flight. You have nowhere to go and you're stuck on a 10-hour, 9-hour,
I would
11-hour
ask my
flight.
doctor for a sedative and then travel with someone that can watch and pay attention, like, oh, she's breathing? Okay, cool. Because, yeah, I can barely do a 4.5 hour flight that we did from California to Georgia. That was,
Yeah, it was like
Oh
a
my
5-hour
goodness.
flight. We had a tailwind, so we got there a little early. But yeah, that flight, if that was tough, man, no, thank you. I do not want to be on a flight just to
even
go to-
Alaska would be long, wouldn't it?
Well, Alaska, there's many places to stop, so you can get connecting flights. You hang out in a terminal, grab a bite to eat, hang out for a couple hours, relax, decompress, walk around. Go to use the restroom. On an 11-hour flight, you're stuck in that cabin forever. And because going from the U.S. over to Hawaii is considered a domestic flight by most airlines, they're not going to feed you a very big meal. So
Oh, I don't mind that.
you end up having to, whatever you take with you is what you got, and that's a long flight to be on. I would not prefer that. But yeah, Alaska, you can get connecting flights, and I think that'd be cool. But yeah, I think that'd be really neat. We touched on this in a comment, but what is the purpose of vacationing? So, for example, we said sometimes we vacation for food.
It's food that I would not necessarily make at home, or food that I don't like going to fairs. I mean, I used to when I was a teenager, but you know what I mean? Like Disneyland, you can get all those types of
Yeah, you can get your carnival food fix,
yeah.
so to speak, your street foods. Yeah, I would definitely. So over in Seal Beach, there's this place called A Slice of New York. I think it is, and that is the best New York style pizza in that area, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
And
and
they're-
the closest
they're from
second
New
I
York.
would
They're from the
say
city.
is Colorado Springs.
So Colorado
Joey's
Springs,
Pizza.
Joey's Pizza has. They're from the city also. I think they're from Brooklyn, and then also in Colorado Springs they have. It's called Rong Cheng, and it's a Chinese restaurant, and it's New York style Chinese food. Those of you who have been who are either in the tri-state area, or you're whether it's New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, or whether it's maybe even New Hampshire. I think over in Manchester area, they might have it similarly, New York style Chinese pizza. So if you're from that area, then this is the place to go if you find yourself in Colorado Springs. Rong Cheng, and their restaurant owner is from Brooklyn, and their sister still has their restaurant in Long Island, New York going on. So it's a family-owned business. They're still doing good things, and they rock. They're the best.
I think
So
the only other state that I haven't mentioned is New York.
Mhm.
But I want to go not exactly for Thanksgiving, because that seems just like a headache to me. But I would like to go like the first week or so of December.
Okay.
Um,
When they start putting up the tree.
when they start putting up the tree
Okay.
in Rockefeller Center, and
Mhm.
my niece went this past December, and man, just the pictures alone of all the places that she went to. I mean, granted, we would have to take 2 weeks, where she only took 1 week. But for me to enjoy, we would have to take 2 weeks to go up there. But I've never been to New York ever, and I'm pretty sure the complete opposite of California. So,
Yeah.
it's just, and I like cold weather, so no problems there. So, it's just one thing that I like to experience, while I'm still young. And I mean, I'm only 31, but before you reach that middle age where you're like, I don't want to do shit, but maybe go to like 3-4 hours away from us to Disneyland, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So,
Funny.
because I hear in your 40s and 50s, you're like, I'm too old for that shit type of thing.
Is it really worth the hassle?
So, exactly. So, really worth the hassle of flying, and then
You gotta rent a car.
renting a car,
You gotta go to a
or
hotel.
depending on taxis. No. New York, I would ride in a taxi. I would never take an Uber or
have to.
Lyft in New York.
You have to. Taxis, they'll get you there quick. So that's the cool part. They're a little
We
expensive.
did a
so-
taxi in Anaheim.
Yeah.
When we lived in California before.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we got a cab for something.
So I think it was to go to church and then back to the parks.
Yeah.
But I had never been in a taxi, and it was nice gentlemen driving and everything, and us Californians were like, taxi, that's terrifying. No, it's not. It's really not.
Yeah, that was a really good trip. We have a lot of good trips to Disney, and like we said, so sometimes we go for food, and just touching on that topic for a second, you don't have to choose a vacation just to go see a bunch of tourist spots. You can choose a vacation to relax and enjoy the area. I mean, a lot of times people want to go to some island somewhere in the Bahamas, Cabo. They go different places.
Bora,
Yeah,
stuff like
they
that.
go different tropical places, and they go fancy places, or they go on cruises, and they say, okay, I just want to go and participate in everything that the area or the vacation spot has to offer. That's usually not how we work. We go, okay, let's just get out of here and go take a break somewhere. And while we're there, let's budget out that trip to be, let's eat out the whole time. Let's go every restaurant we can go to, and we'll make a list, or we'll get on a Around Me app, and we'll see, okay, what type of food is in the area, and we'll just say, okay, tonight we're gonna do Asian food, tomorrow night we're gonna do Mexican food, the following night we're gonna do Chinese food, something to the effect, or Italian. And that's what we like to do. So we like to get out and about, and when we go, we just like to be on break. And whether the intent of that break is to go to Disney and do, okay, we're gonna go hit up all the mountains. We're gonna go to Thunder Mountain, we're gonna go to Splash Mountain, we might pass by the Matterhorn. All this was before they redid the seats, ruining the ride, because now the seats are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Then we'll go to Splash Mountain, we'll go to Space Mountain, and so on. And sometimes we do that, or sometimes we stay on one side of the park and just do one side of the park, and then the next day we'll go to California Adventure and just do that. So something, and then that's another thing. If you're going to, especially Disney, if you're going to any theme parks, whether it's Busch Gardens, Disneyland, Disney World, any theme park, think of what is the purpose of your hotel. So is your hotel there to spend some time, take a break for the day, and just stay in, order room service, and enjoy the hotel? Or is your hotel there just a bed? Is it there just to sleep and store your stuff because you're in the park the whole day for the entirety of your trip? So you can budget out your trip based on what your intent is for that trip. Sometimes we pick a hotel because we used to go to the Sheraton a lot because we liked their bar. They had a great bar, and they had a really good opportunity for
Like a nightcap type thing.
right, and they had great food, so their kitchen was fantastic. So when it came down to ordering in, if we just wanted to stay in the hotel that day, we just order all our meals to the room, and it gets a little bit pricey, but like I said, you budget out your trip for what you intend. And so that's one option. Another option is we stay in a hotel that's right across the street from the park entrance, and that's if we're going to be in the park the whole entire time of our trip there. We're going to say, okay, well, we'll park across the street, we'll have our hotel there, and then we'll bring in some whatever snacks we want to pack, or whatever food we want to pre-make and pack. And we'll keep it in the fridge, do what we got to do, and then if we ever need a break from the park, instead of going to downtown Disney, we'll just go back to the hotel. We have everything we need there, and then we'll go back to the park. So if you're going to stay in the park the whole day, or in downtown Disney, which is great to take a break from that, people can go in and shop, and you can get a slice of pizza, or you can go to Starbucks, which is the best Starbucks, in my opinion, is in California. Is in Disneyland, downtown Disney. And you can just enjoy all the different restaurants they have there. So that's an option. But like I said, plan your trip to really figure out what is the intent of your trip, and then budget towards that intent. I think you get at least we find it very helpful, and just, okay, you go there, you have your shared expectations of what you're going to get out of that time at that location, and then you could just plan for that. And if you need to scale down because you get tired or you're just not feeling well, you can do so, and it's no hindrance that you're not missing out on anything specific. So that's what we like to do as far as vacationing. Sometimes let's talk about travel and MS. So what does that look like?
Well, travel depends on where we're going, how long we're going to be there, that type of thing, because then that'll be like, okay, well, now I have to schedule with my doctors, okay, I need X amount of pills for X amount of days, or packing for, I always have to have extra clothes, or I have urine incontinence, so like, those type of medical supplies, or if I need my walker or my wheelchair, if it's a, you know, if we're going somewhere warm, you know, like Disneyland. So it just varies from where we're going, or
So we tend to
that
pack.
type of thing.
So we tend to pack a little heavy because of that. So we pack on. Okay, what are some contingency plans? What are if the weather changes drastically? Are we prepared for that? That way we don't have to buy anything there, or do we have if we need to stay behind an extra day? Do we have extra supplies for that extra day or two that we need to stay behind? So those things come into play. Yeah. So those are some things you might want to think about. Know what pharmacies are in the area of your location that you're going to, so that if your doctor has to, and then let your doctors know beforehand that you're going to be in that location, and your preferred pharmacy is changed to that pharmacy. That way,
Right.
if they need to ship something to you, fill a prescription drastically or very quickly on an emergency basis, you can get what you need. And if you forget, you don't have to worry about fumbling for the right pharmacy. Pre-planned. So when you know your hotel and you book your hotel, find out the pharmacy that's closest to you that meets your need the best, and then get your doctors aware.
I would say most pharmacies are really good in that aspect. I've been with Walgreens for the last 3 years, and they've been pretty good. When we were living in Colorado, and I would come to California, and I had to have my certain prescriptions that I get at Walgreens being transferred to
California.
the California Walgreens, and they're like, yeah, no problem, just let us know, and no problem. And same thing if we go to Anaheim, Disneyland. If I were to absolutely run out of, like, say, my migraine medication, I know I can get it, and I just call, the morning that they open. I call my normal Walgreens and say, hey, can you forward it to this Walgreens? I'm out of town for, another week, and I need this, like, now, because migraines. So, yeah, but I would say pharmacies, for the most part, do a very good job with coordinating with their patients, which I never thought.
Was it going to be that easy?
Right, yeah.
Something to keep in mind, state to state, there's different laws and different regulations. So something that we experienced a couple of years ago was going from the Midwest over to coming into California, and we discovered that California had updated their laws, and statewide they have different regulations on different types of controlled substances. Not necessarily painkillers, but it could be
Anxiety medication.
It could be anxiety medication. It could be anything. So something to keep in mind is when you go to your next location, update your pharmacist. Update your doctor as soon as you could, because your pharmacy may not be able to, at your new location or your vacation spot, may not be able to receive doctor's orders or prescriptions from an out-of-state provider. So be aware of that and let your doctor know so that they can coordinate who's in the area that they can talk to, especially if you're going to be on an extended stay, anything over than 3 weeks. That way, if you are not able to leave home with your correct amount of your correct dosage, if it's limited week to week or month to month and you're in between months, just make sure you do your homework and your coordination beforehand. That'll help a lot when it comes down to getting what you need at your location. Also, that plays in hand a little more when you go outside the country. For work, I've traveled outside the country a lot, and something that you're going to have to be aware of is that medication allowed in that country, not allowed in that country, but available in that country to be prescribed. Because internationally, you're going to have different pharmaceutical companies, different measurements for food and drug. And so you have to be aware of those things. So try to always leave home with an extra week's worth of medication beyond what you're going to need, just in case you get stuck or there's a layover or a flight cancellation due to
Or
weather.
if you have family, like he was on a military trip out of the country, and I had to mail him some medications that his location didn't have access to, so I had to send him a care package, and that's how he got I think it was just inhalers. For whatever reason, they didn't have them out there. I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, stuff like that will just happen. So if you travel internationally, just make sure you bring an extra of what you need, and or if not, make sure you have family stateside that can, help you out with, if you aren't able to access where you're going.
Yeah, just if you have a preferred, make sure you can do your best with what you got, and then just coordinate with your doctors. Anything else on the vacationing thing you want to touch on?
I don't think so. We don't really.
Sometimes when you travel, we bring Callie, so we bring your emotional support animal.
Yeah, that was mainly from Colorado to California because
extended stays with family.
Extended stays with my parents because I don't like to just come for 2 weeks. I'd prefer to come out for a month and then I get my time's worth out of it, if that makes sense. So then I bring the little Yorkie Chihuahua.
Who's having surgery.
Who's having surgery tomorrow. We'll go into that in a minute. But so she would come with me, and then my parents bought her a stroller, and since she is an emotional support animal, they didn't say, okay, well, she can't just have this, she has to have, a carrier too. They said, no, as long as she has something to contain her while she's, in the airport, that's fine, and she can just sit on your lap or on the floor during the in-flight travel transition, that it's fine. And so Callie is having surgery tomorrow on her left hind leg. And I will show you the x-ray, and Jonathan, you can tell them what happened that she needs surgery for.
So she kind of had a sports injury, similar to, torn ACL. And that sports injury, we have gophers in our yard, which I have been at battle with, so yeah. So she's been, she twisted her leg and had a little bit of sports injury there, so yeah.
So this is her x-ray. So they're saying that this top of the knee, because you know how there's two bone joints that rub against each other to function as a proper working knee. Well, there's something wrong with this top bone here, and I don't know if it's these little bone spurs over here, or I'm not quite sure, but she's gonna need a minor surgery tomorrow. So, positive thoughts and prayers are welcome. Here's another view where you can see that's her right and that's her left.
Yep.
So you can show them that looks different than that one.
Yeah, there we are. So you can see the knees.
So this one over here is the one that's messed up, and this one over here is how it's supposed to look. So it looks like it's just the bone spur on the side that might need to be shaved off. But outside of that, I don't see anything else that would need to be worked on. But then again, we're not radiologists or doctors, so we couldn't tell you.
Other way around.
So, I'm gonna hand over the mask to my husband because I have to go check the laundry. So, excuse me while he continues discussing Callie's surgery.
No, that's fine.
I'll be right back.
Just take it with you. It's fine. I'll stay off camera. We'll put Callie on camera. There she is. Had a little bit of a groom there. So yeah. So traveling, yeah. Here's a slight pet peeve of mine is traveling with emotional support animal. Make sure your support animal is trained at least on hospital visits and walks. That way they can interact with people and they are not a nuisance to people. especially people when they're trying to rest, and your support animal can receive and acknowledge nonverbal commands. That is very important, especially if you have to remain quiet, and it comes in a lot of help when it over at airports or any location where you might want to be a little more aware, self-aware, and be respectful to other people and those around you. So if you can have your support animal master nonverbal commands, be trained and certified and registered as a support animal, that's helpful too. Please do that. What my pet peeve is in regard to is the false claims of some people that have been made, saying that they're emotional support animals when those animals are more of a pet and a hindrance to those around them rather than a support to their owner. So that's my biggest pet peeve, is when a support animal is really a pet. And that ruins things for all of those who do need support animals. So yeah, nonverbal commands, that's a huge benefit to having your support animal trained. And then also hospital rounds, making sure they're signed off on being able to be in a medical facility, because God forbid if you are with your support animal and you had to be hospitalized, that support animal needs to be able to go with you and cannot be left alone. So if you're stuck there in a waiting room for a while, your support animal needs to be able to wait with you. Especially if you're traveling outside of your home area and you don't have that friend or family support to say, hey, can you take care of this animal for me while I'm at the hospital? So those are very important things. Let them do their job, and they need to be trained in order to do their job. So that's very important. That's been a huge pet peeve of mine. And if they're yappy up on airplanes, you know what? You might want to travel by car next time, or don't take them. Callie she's the best trained dog I've seen on an aircraft. She lays well. Some service animals have been phenomenally well too, but not very often. She's more well behaved than most children. She is quieter and less, let's say, less affecting of others on aircrafts. So most people don't even know that she's there with us until we unboard, until we disembark or get off of the deboard to get off of the airplane, and then they see her get up with us and go with us out. So it's interesting. It's been a huge blessing for us that she's that mellow, unaffected by the chamber pressure changes upon takeoff and landing. The noise from takeoff and landing does not bother her or startle her, and
no, she just becomes aware where she's like, oh, I have to make sure mommy's calm and relaxed, and because she helps with my anxiety and depression, and she picks up on if she knows that I'm in pain type of thing, she'll know, okay, I have to respond this way, It's a lot of nonverbal. Like, obviously she's not going to be whimpering or anything like that when I'm in pain, but she just knows, okay, I have to do this, or I have to, be on my mommy's chest to calm her down type of thing,
or hey, I'm going to sit at her feet, I'm just going to be calm and patient, or hey, we're not going to be going anywhere, so I'm just going to lay down over here. Or hey, I have to be alert to if we have to move, you're prepared and ready to move. So just having a dog that's trained, or an animal that's trained, and I use that loosely. However, please, if you're going to choose an emotional support animal, there's better animals and worse animals to choose. A peacock might not be the best support animal. A small four-legged creature may be better, or maybe even a turtle or something that can just be discreet and contained. That may be helpful. But yeah, please don't take advantage of such a useful and helpful and great opportunity that many have if they do need it. So yeah, please don't do anything to ruin that opportunity for others. Yeah. That's all I have. We're getting tired. It's been a long day. It's just about 9.
It's been a long day since
Been a long week.
yesterday.
Yeah.
So I did start a new MS medication, and the process just takes a long time. But in about 2 weeks, I'll be getting the second part of the dosage. And so far, I felt pretty good today, just a little tired. And if that's the worst symptom out of any of the symptoms I could have gotten from this treatment, I'm 100% for it, you know. And I think it'll be beneficial for me wanting to plan longer trips to visit my parents, or, you know, if we want to
Do more when we're out and about.
right,
Yeah.
that type of thing. So yeah, so I can't think of anything else. Was there anything else that came up this week other than I'm still mourning Jenna Marbles right now?
No, nothing else going on. Nothing significantly new. Yeah, I think that's it. Well, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you. Well, you'll see us in a couple.
I think we're gonna take this Sunday off. That's why we're doing it today. Or upload it on a Thursday. Well, doing and upload it on a Thursday. Or normally we, you know, do these on Sundays and upload. But my parents are in town helping me out with my new treatment and how that's, you know, taking effect on my body, as well as Callie and her surgery. So they'll be with us for, you know, the next month or so. So that's gonna be very helpful, and so far it's been very calming to me. So, and of course Callie loves her grandma and grandpa, and our other dogs do too. So just bear with us, you know, give us, you know, 4th of July weekend just to spend with my parents and hang out, and we'll be back to our normal Sunday schedule
in about 10 days.
Yeah, in about 10 days, or if I feel so inclined to
Do a podcast.
if I have something on my mind, we'll probably just do the audio podcast, and then obviously the video podcast the following installment of our podcast. So, and we will update you guys on how Callie's doing on her Instagram.
Yes.
Follow her. I believe it's Khalifa Stitch on Instagram.
Yep.
And you'll get updates on her as well as myself.
Yep.
With my MS stuff. And so we will talk to you guys in about another week.
Yeah.
Stay healthy, stay safe, and wear your masks, people. Wear your masks.
And wash your hands. All right, take care.